Last year didn't end in a bowl game for the Arizona Wildcats, but Jed Fish and his staff should be excited about what they have going for the future. We'll talk about 10 guys today that could make a bowl game a possibility in 2023. And you look at the talent level they bring back, there's a lot to be excited about, even in a talented conference. Now, we're going to start with the defensive side of the ball. This is the group that I think a lot of people believe will have a tougher time than the offense. This is a group that's bringing in quite a few new pieces, quite a few younger pieces that need to step up and need to take steps. And that's the concerning part if you're Arizona. Jacob MANU is one of those players. 5'11", 220 pounds. And pretty good player from 2022, a group that could be, like I said, better. When you look at their production statistically, this is a group that finished in triple digits in the country, which is not great. Scoring wasn't exactly a strong suit for this group, stopping the run, stopping the pass. Overall, this group needs to get better. But a guy like Jacob Manu can make that happen. 54 tackles last year, 4 tackles for loss. The biggest thing to me is going to be how disruptive can they be? That's going to help their numbers overall because this is a group that produced just 16 sacks, which is 126th in college football last year and 54 tackles for loss, which was 118th. Guys like Jacob Manu are going to make life a lot easier for this team as a whole if they're able to be more disruptive and stop plays in the backfield. The passing attack is really going to get most of the love when you're talking about Arizona, but the rushing attack features two players that we'll talk about today that deserve more recognition they're getting. They're two solid backs that can do a lot of damage. Jonah Coleman is one of those guys. Comes in at 5'9", 225 pounds, solid frame, maybe a little bit on the shorter end, but still someone who brings quite a bit of talent to running the football. 375 yards and 4 touchdowns in 2022 as a freshman. That's huge. And I think that his name is only going to go up from here. Now, what he can do as a pass catcher will help this offense as well. This is a group that finished 71st in rushing, so kind of right in the middle in terms of running the football, which is expected with the amount of success they had. This was the sixth best passing attack in the country, so the rushing attack probably is not going to be as good, but this was, again, still a really good group. I think that they're full of talent on this offense, and the running back position is one of the underrated parts of that group. The offensive line played a huge role. They're a group that kept the quarterback upright for the most part, and they also prevented teams from creating tackles for loss. JONAH SAVAIINAEA is one of those guys, 6'5", 335 pounds, another guy who played early in his career and already has 12 starts under his belt. This is a group that, again, I think you're looking at an offensive line that is one of the more talented offensive lines in this conference, and maybe one still that doesn't get as much recognition as it deserves. We'll talk about another guy on this line in a little bit, someone who could be a future NFL draft pick. And when you look at what they have returning, it's exciting to see the talent back, but also you're looking at an offense that should be extremely explosive after a season in which they took tremendous strides. Now, another guy that will play a big role in the offense is Tanner McLaughlin. You're 6'5", 240 pounds. A redshirt senior comes back after a 456-yard season. Maybe he gets a little bit more involved, especially when you lose a guy like Dorian Singer. Someone needs to replace his catches. That won't be done by one person, but guys like McLaughlin can make it happen with they can be contributors to that. The ball will go distribute around to other players, and when you have someone like him coming back, a bigger target downfield, you have plenty of options to make that happen. We already talked about the rushing attack. Talked about Jonah Coleman. Michael Wiley is another player who kind of flies under the radar because everyone's so focused on the passing attack, and the rushing attack just doesn't really get the love that it deserves. Michael Wiley averaged 6.8 yards per carry last year, 771 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's had a solid career already, and he could have a potential 1,000-yard season when it's all said and done. Now, obviously, he is going to compete with Coleman for carries, for the ability to run the football, catch the football, that kind of stuff. But I really like what this group brings back. I like the potential in this rushing attack that makes things really exciting. If you're an Arizona fan, there's a lot to like about this unit, and there's a lot to like about the offense and what it can do this year. You could see a step forward because even though you losing Dorian Singer hurt, but I think all the key pieces that you need back to improve do return. So that's something to keep an eye on and something that could be really exciting for the Wildcats heading into 2023. We mentioned the offensive line before. Jordan Morgan is a really exciting player for Arizona, someone with NFL potential. Comes in at 6'6", 320 pounds. That has plenty of experience, has plenty of talent, plenty of experience. And again, the skill positions will get most of the love, but Jordan Morgan is someone that if you are looking at the NFL ranks or if you're an NFL team looking for a tackle, Jordan Morgan is someone to keep an eye on and someone who could be really exciting for this offense, for this team. Someone that can really set the tone and help keep the quarterback upright, create running lanes, just like they did last year. We saw Arizona was one of those teams that I believed was going to take a step forward. I really hope they would get to a bowl game, and I think that's still a possibility in 2023. And guys like Jordan Morgan were difference makers in that regard. Another guy that would be a difference maker in 2023 comes in from Oregon, Justin FLOWE. The linebacker is an absolute heat-seeking missile when he is on the field and healthy. And you look at his game, and it's easy to see why he was a former five-star. This guy comes in at 6'2", 225 pounds. Maybe not the production that you want, but it's mostly because he hasn't been able to stay on the field consistently due to injury. So what can he do to stay healthy? What can he do to help this defense? There are a lot of concerns. I'm not going to lie with this defense. There's a lot of things that this group needs to do, and it's the weakness of this Wildcats team. And Jedd Fisch knows that. He knows what he needs to do, what areas he needs to fix, and the defense is. But that doesn't mean there's not talent. There's plenty of talent on this side of the ball. It's just a matter of can they play well together and can they improve in a unit that was pretty bad last year. Justin FLOWE is someone who will be able to make that happen, someone who can make a lot of big plays. When you play along the likes of some of the players that he played with at Oregon, you look at Noah Sewell, for example, you learn things from being around great players like that. And if Justin FLOWE can take those things that he learned and apply that to his time at Arizona, then this defense is really exciting and has some potential. And that really will help, honestly, the offense. That's going to be the biggest thing is what can you do to help the offense? Because the offense needs to score a lot of points, and they will. And if their defense can get them more opportunities, then you're looking at a really fun team, a team that no one really wants to face. Another young player, that's kind of the theme with some of these guys here today. Another young player who has tremendous potential is TETAIROA McMillan. You look at what he can do for this offense. Losing Dorian Singer, we mentioned before, that hurts a lot. McMillan is someone who I believe can take that step forward and be that big time weapon downfield. At 6'5", 205 pounds, he brings pretty good size to the offense. Maybe can be that take the top off the defense type of player. He averaged 18 yards per catch. So that's something that can help this offense evolve and expand. So I think that you're looking at an offense that it figures out who that new guy is. Again, you're not going to replace Dorian Singer with one guy. Maybe you will with McMillan, but overall, you're going to just get more catches for your top three guys and our top four guys. That's probably the approach they're going to go with. And there's plenty of catches to go around. But McMillan is someone who can be a big time playmaker. And again, when you only have 39 catches and you're as efficient as he did, you're going to get more targets in 2023. And that was his introduction to college football. Now he has a full year of experience under his belt. And this wide receiver group is honestly one of the more exciting groups in the country. And I still think this offense and this group of wide receivers doesn't get enough love. Another wide receiver that will, again, get a lot more attention is Jacob Cohen. You look at what he did last year, 1,034 yards, 7 touchdowns. Someone who, again, will also get some more catches because Singer is gone, and teams will shift their attention towards him. That opens things up for McMillan. The nice thing about having so many playmakers is that you're able to distribute the ball. You're not able to, if you're a defense, you're not able to put too much attention on one side or another, because you can't focus all your attention on Cohen, because then McMillan beats you. You can't double team both of them, because then McLaughlin beats you. The rushing attack beats you. There's so many things that if you're a defense, you almost have to play them straight up and just hope that your scheme is better than their talent. And it's really hard to do that. And the really exciting thing about Arizona is they now have an offense that could be one of the best in college football, and the skill positions are a big reason why. The final guy that we'll talk about, and the orchestrator of this offense, is Jayden de Laura. One of the better things that he did for his career was transfer from Washington State. And I think a lot of people had some concerns about his time in Arizona, what that could mean, what he could do. And he has proven that he can be an explosive playmaker. 25 touchdowns last year, but the biggest thing that he needs to address is the turnovers. He already has 26 interceptions in his career. 13 of them came last year. So taking care of the football will be a priority for Jedd Fisch, will be a priority for Jayden de Laura, and it's going to be a big determining factor in whether or not a bowl game is in the works for 2023 for Arizona. I think that if he takes a step forward in terms of reducing those interceptions, he already put up good numbers, over 3,600 yards and those 25 touchdowns. It's just a matter of reducing those interceptions. If you keep those interceptions down, keep the turnovers down, you get more opportunities to complete passes, move the ball down the field, and increase your touchdown total, increase the yards that you throw for, and get the ball to your playmakers even more. This is a group that is really exciting heading into 2023, a group that has a ton of potential, even in a loaded conference. And if they're able to take those small steps forward, keeping the turnovers down and improving on that defense, Arizona is going to be a really fun team to watch this year.